Hi everyone, my name is Caris. Welcome back to my corner of the internet where I talk about books and other things that I enjoy. I feel like it's a long time no see. I definitely haven't sat down and filmed a video for a really long time, probably since the start of last month, and I feel like I haven't uploaded one for a while either. So hi, I am in a different location from my past few videos. I'm at my parents' house just for this weekend. I've been here all week, but I'm finally getting around to sitting down and filming. And because I'm here and I feel like I get way more filmed when I'm here, I wanted to like pre-film some videos so that I can take a bit of filming pressure off myself when I get back to my flat again. But it's good to be back and I'm looking forward to hopefully getting back into reading a bit more this month. So that's why today I want to talk about my August TBR. So honestly, June and July have been a bit of a write-off in terms of reading, but I'm hoping that in August I can try and reprioritize reading a little bit more and just get back into it and focus on it a little bit more than I have been doing. So I've got 6 things that I'm going to talk about today. I feel like that's a good number. I was definitely achieving that amount of books previously in the year. 3 of these are actually for readathons / read-alongs that I want to take part in, and then the other 3 are just things that I'm currently in the mood for. These ones sort of might change as the month goes on. I said 6, but actually it is technically 7 because the first thing that I do want to finish in August is The Vanishing Half by Brit Bennett. It is the last day of July as I'm filming this, but seeing as I'm only 100 pages in and this is over 300 pages long, I just don't think that I'll get around to finishing this today. I am really enjoying it so far. I'm sure most people probably know what this book is about, but in summary, it basically starts out with 2 twin sisters who are living in a very small southern black community in this little town, and they both decide to run away from home at 16 years old, and then their lives sort of take 2 very separate directions. A few years later you return to the same town and the one twin sister is just back there, and she also has a daughter now. And you learn that the other twin is living as a white woman, and the blurb says that her husband doesn't know anything of her past. The point where I'm at now, we've only really got the one sister, the one that's gone back to the town. We've only really got her perspective, and now we're sort of looking at her daughter's life. Her daughter, I think, is about 18 at the bit where I've just got to. So I do think it's going to be following the next generation of this family more than the twin sisters, which is not necessarily the path I thought it was going to take, but I am quite interested to see what's going to happen next, and I do really want to learn more about the other sister because at the moment you don't know anything, her twin sister doesn't know anything, but I'm sure we're going to find out at some point soon. So I can't wait to see what I think of the rest of this. Really enjoying it so far. Brit Bennett's writing style is really engaging. So that brings me on to the books that I'm going to be reading for book clubs and readathons. So the first thing that I'm going to be reading this month is for the I Should Have Read That book club, which was set up by the wonderful Shannon from 155 Books, who is one of my closest friends here on BookTube. And I'm actually going to be a co-host of the book club along with another one of my fantastic BookTube friends, Charlotte from Queenie Reads. So if you would like to join us, I'll put a link to Shannon's original announcement video for the book club in the description and the cards, and I'll also leave a link to the Twitter account as well, because we're going to be tweeting on there and talking about the upcoming reads for the next few months. But we've got some very exciting plans. The aim of the book club, as the name of it would suggest, is to focus on books that are often things that people say that you should have read. I like to think of it as when you go into Waterstones and there's that table, there's always that one of like books that were really popular a little while ago. The hype has sort of passed and you feel like everyone else has read them but you haven't. Very much that sort of thing, but we're also going to be sort of alternating. So one month we're going to be reading a more current book and the next month we're going to be reading a classic or a modern classic. August is the very first month of the book club, and the book that we're going to be reading, as I said, is Queenie by Candice Carty-Williams. I actually don't have any of these books to show now because they're all in my flat, so I'll put a picture up on the screen, but I do have it there ready and waiting for me to pick up when I get back. All that I really know about Queenie is that I think it's a sort of coming of age style book about a woman in her 20s. I'm not sure at what point in her 20s, but I believe that's the sort of age that the main character Queenie is. I know that it's set in Britain, and I think that there are going to be some very important topics that are very central to it. I think race is going to be a big theme, and I believe mental health as well. But other than that, I don't really know too much. I just know that a lot of people read this book when it first came out and really loved it. I've had it on my shelves for quite a while, so when I saw that it was the first pick for the book club, I was like, yes, this is something that I have to get involved in. So I'm just so excited to see what myself, Charlotte and Shannon and anyone who takes part thinks of this book and to talk about it with everyone, and I really hope that some of you can join us in reading it. The next readathon that I'm going to be taking part in is the Join the Six readathon, which is being hosted by Emily, Rebecca and Kaz. Again, I will leave a link to all of their channels and the Twitter for the readathon in the description. So the whole premise of the readathon is inspired by Taylor Jenkins Reid's Daisy Jones and the Six, which is a book that I read last year and absolutely loved. Basically, each one of the parts of the band, like keys, guitar, vocals, they all have 3 prompts that go alongside them, and if you read books that cover all 3 of those prompts, you get to join the band. And then there's also a fan or crowd prompt that you only have to read 1 book for. So that's the one that I've decided to pick because it's only a week-long readathon. It's running from the 16th to the 22nd, I believe. And I, as I said, have only read 1 book in the entirety of July. So I think setting myself the challenge of reading 3 books in a week is just way too over optimistic for me at the moment. I just know that I will not achieve it, but I do still really want to take part. I think it's a really fun sounding readathon, and there was a prompt for the crowd fan thing that really fitted with what I wanted to read anyway, and that was the prompt of reading a hyped book. And for this one I have picked Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which feels very fitting because the whole readathon is inspired by one of her books. So I had this book on pre-order and I did want to read it as soon as it came out, but I also wanted to read Evelyn Hugo first. Spoiler alert for my July wrap-up, that is the book that I have read in July and loved it, and now I'm just so hyped to read another Taylor Jenkins Reid book. Again, I don't really know too much about this, but I believe it deals with celebrities, and I know that it sort of follows, I think, the relatives of one of the side characters that was sort of briefly featured in Evelyn Hugo. So I'm very excited to see if there are any sort of Easter eggs and little links between the two. I don't know if there are going to be other than the obvious, but I think that'll be really cool anyway, and I just really like it when books have a vague link like that. I've heard not mixed things about this because I feel like everyone that I've seen read it has enjoyed it, but I know that it hasn't always lived quite up to people's expectations in terms of Evelyn and Daisy Jones. So we'll see. The next thing that I really want to read in August, I think I'm going to be buddy reading with Rhiannon from Welsh Reader. We did talk about it in our sprints last night, so we just need to get on and get organised basically. But it is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson, which is the 3rd book in the Good Girls Guide for Murder series. This series is the reason why Rhiannon and I became friends. We buddy read the 2nd book together a year ago, and we always sort of said, oh, when the new one comes out, we'll read it together again. And previously when we've been talking about it, we did have sort of intentions of organising this whole readathon thing where we'd read each of the books prior to it and then read this one, and it would be a thing that people would join in with, but we're not that organised, so that hasn't happened. But I think it will still be really fun to buddy read this one together. I had such a good time buddy reading the 2nd one with her and theorising and stuff, and I actually got it pretty spot on, which I was so impressed with. So I feel like I have really high standards to live up to, and I'm really worried that I'm not going to be as good as that this time, but I'm sure it'll still be a really fun time. If you don't already know, this is a sort of YA murder mystery series. The 1st book basically follows Pip, who is a student. I think she's at college, she's 17 or something, and she's writing this project about this historical murder that's happened in her town, and basically she believes that the person who has been arrested for it didn't do it, and she's looking into what else could have happened. The 2nd book sort of follows a different mystery, and it also follows Pip doing this podcast off the back of the 1st mystery that she was involved in. And then I'm not too sure about what the mystery in the 3rd one's going to be. I think that Pip has gone to university. I know in the 2nd one it talked about her going off to Cambridge, so I think it's going to be set there. Don't quote me on that though, that might be completely wrong. I kind of want to go into it knowing not very much, which is why I haven't looked up the premise of this. But I've absolutely loved the first 2 books in the series, so I'm really hoping that I love this 3rd one just as much. And then alongside that, I do want to try and read, probably before I go into this one, just to refresh my memory of the characters and stuff, Killjoy, which is the little World Book Day novella sort of thing. It's only about 80 pages and it's quite small, that also focuses on Pip and her friends. I believe it's set at like a murder mystery party, and I think it does take place before the events of the second book, so I almost wish I'd have read it like prior to that, even though it wasn't out at that point. But I think it will be really fun, and I think it will be a nice little refresher of the characters and who everyone is before diving into the next one. And the last couple of things, I don't have any plans to read them with anyone or for any book clubs or anything, but I just am in the mood for them. So the first thing is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Satano. This was actually a gift from Victoria, from What Victoria Read, which I don't know if I've ever said on my channel because it arrived like around the time I was moving back into my flat, and I haven't really done that many videos since then, and no hauls or anything. So thank you so much, Victoria. I know I've messaged you like personally at the time, but thank you once again. I'm so excited to get to this book, and I just think I'm going to be in the mood for this sort of thing in August. I feel like it's going to be funny. I feel like it's going to be like fast paced, which is exactly what I feel like I need at the moment. I'm just going to read out the Goodreads blurb for this one because I don't, again, really know too much, but I want to say something about it. So it says, what happens when you mix one accidental murder with 2,000 wedding guests and then toss in a possible curse on 3 generations of an immigrant Chinese-Indonesian family? You get 4 meddling Asian aunties coming to the rescue. When Madeline Chan ends up accidentally killing her blind date, her meddlesome mother calls for her even more meddlesome aunties to help get rid of the body. Unfortunately, a dead body proves to be a lot more challenging to dispose of than one might anticipate, especially when it is inadvertently shipped in a cake cooler to the over-the-top billionaire wedding Mehdi. Her ma and aunties are working at an island resort on the California coastline. It's the biggest job yet for the family wedding business. Don't leave your big day to chance, leave it to the chance. And nothing, not even an unsavoury corpse, will get in the way of her auntie's perfect buttercream flowers. But things go from inconvenient to downright torturous when Mehdi's great college love and biggest heartbreak makes a surprise appearance amid the wedding chaos. Is it possible to escape murder charges, charm her ex back into her life, and pull off a stunning wedding all in one weekend? So yeah, I feel like I'm really going to like the sort of mystery elements of this, and I just think it's going to be very over the top. So I'm very intrigued. I've heard lots of hype about this one as well, so I really hope that I love it as much as other people have. And the last thing that I want to finish in August is probably going to be the one that I don't prioritise, let's be real, because I'm intimidated by it, but that is 6 Tudor Queens Book 2 Anne Boleyn. I started this one in May. I started it on the day I went to see 6 for the first time since lockdown. I have a whole vlog of that experience. I read maybe like 60 pages of it over the course of that day and that weekend, and then I just put it down, and I've been to C6 6 times including that time since then, and have not read a single further page of this book, which I think is just a perfect summary of where I'm at right now with what's been going on. Yeah, I picked it up because it was sort of like a perfect fit, reading a book about Anne Boleyn before going to C6. Really had high expectations of actually getting around to finishing it over the course of like that week, and just didn't pick it up again. It is about 500 pages, I want to say, and it's quite thin pages and quite like small text, which is why I just keep putting it off. But I do really like these books. I really liked the Catherine of Aragon one. I learnt a lot from it. They just can be quite slow in places, and I need to really dedicate a lot of time to it, which I haven't been doing. But if I'm trying to make reading a priority in August, then I really do think that I need to get round to giving some more time to this one. So we'll see. Not making any major promises, but I would really like to get it done so that I can carry on with the rest of the series, seeing as I have all of the books. So that was it. I feel like this was a bit of a chaotic video. I feel like I literally don't know how to sit down and talk to the camera anymore, but I hope it was alright. I would love to know your thoughts on any of these books if you've read them, so please let me know in the comments. Other than that though, that is it for today's video. I hope you're all keeping safe and staying well, and I will see you again next time. Bye!